Thanks, Rob.
Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program with Cecily Tynan, Phil Andrews, and Rob Jennings.
Saturday night, Philadelphia police are a presence on South Street, and an explosion in a motel room lands the occupant in jail. But the big story in Action News tonight is a big sigh of relief in the wake of Tropical Storm Bertha. She's lost her punch after battering the North Carolina coast and delivered only a glancing blow to Delaware and New Jersey shorelines. The Garden State escaped a direct hit from Bertha, but the storm's effects could still be felt in the form of heavy rain and pounding surf. On the boardwalks in Ventnor and Ocean City, the rough seas and high winds brought out the curious.
This is fine. We love it. We're out here walking, just checking out the sights.
The good news for the shore is that the beach erosion was minimal, but the strong winds did take down some trees, awnings, and power lines. Some minor street flooding, but it was mostly the result of backed up storm drains rather than the high tide. And what a difference a few hours makes. This the view from Channel 6 Sky 6 at the Jersey Shore just after 6:30 this evening, and you can see the sky beginning to clear out. With Bertha limping up the coast toward New England, people started returning to the beach in AC, and the boardwalk also filled with folks taking a stroll.
And just a little windy, real windy, but nice weather. It's not humid or damp, it's damp, but nothing, everybody should come out and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
And a lot of people appear to be taking that advice to enjoy the rest of the weekend. Traffic started moving heavily into the beach resorts as the sun peeked through and thoughts of Bertha faded away. And the sun was out and folks were returning to beaches in Rehoboth. Action News reporter David Murphy grabbed his umbrella and headed out into the streets.
By daybreak, the rain was heavy in spots like Olney. The winds were relatively strong at times as well, and people generally weren't looking forward to going out in the stuff. Edward Hawkins was on his way to work outside at a cemetery.
We got rain gear and stuff like that.
It's going to get wet today?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Nikita McKenzie had off, but picked a bad day for a certain personal appointment.
Well, it's okay right now until I come from the hairdresser. That's where I'm on my way.
You're going to have to watch that hair in the rain.
Yeah.
But for some people, the weather was far more than an inconvenience. This multi-car wreck on I-95 this morning in Holmesburg sent several people to area hospitals and was one of several accidents on the slick roads this morning. Another was on the Roosevelt Boulevard extension near Fox Street. One car flipped over. Incredibly, the driver was not seriously injured. Another problem was downed trees like this one on Route 320 in Radnor Township. Workers had to cut it up and move it out of the way. In Gloucester Township, New Jersey, a tree fell on a house on Beverly Road. Wires were knocked down by a tree limb in South Harrison Township, New Jersey. To a lesser extent, we also found some tree damage a little bit closer to home. This fallen, wind-blown tree branch, you guessed it, it's lying right here on our front lawn. Then there's the Bala 3 building in Bala Kenwood. Even during a passing tropical storm, you can never get enough water on the lawn, I guess. In Bala Kenwood, David Murphy, Channel 6 Action News.
Well, there were some cases of property damage in the Delaware Valley because of the storm's remnants. In Sentiments in New Jersey, an 80-year-old tulip tree came crashing down on top of a restored Camaro. This is on Thomas Avenue. Unfortunately, the tree missed the house. Nobody was hurt. The force of the storm apparently brought down this big tree on top of a Plymouth Township home. This on Knoll Road this morning. The tree simply toppled over without any warning. And
perfect.
From the inside, it is easy to see the force of the impact and the weight of the tree. 2 family members were inside when it happened. Fortunately, they were not hurt. The North Carolina coastline hardest hit by Bertha. It's where the storm made landfall.
This is WeatherScope.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the Weather Channel. Of course, we've got the latest on Bertha. We've had the latest on Bertha. It seems like July 4th, I guess. You'll talk about that. Yep. I'm Brad Edwards, and this is Christina Abernathy.
That's right. It seems like Bertha's been around for days and days, finally moving off the New England coast, but not before it caused some rather inclement weather. These are pictures from Moorhead, North Carolina. Moorhead City, actually. This was the scene on the shore of Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, shot by resident Steve Valentine. You can see the crashing waves there, plenty of rainfall, as well as a lot of windy conditions, certainly tossing the boats about there. The seas were rough today at Highlands, New Jersey. Bertha was downgraded to a tropical storm when it passed through the region this afternoon, but it still brought heavy rains to the area. The storm quickly passed and headed to the northeast, leaving the New Jersey residents only soggy and windblown. Bertha roared through New York City this afternoon. In Manhattan, people ventured out to check out the tropical conditions. Walking was okay, but driving was a bit hazardous. Numerous accidents were attributed to minor flooding. There were some trees knocked down by the winds in some parts of the New York area. And of course, when we have tropical systems, tornadoes are always a possibility, especially with a landfalling hurricane. Several Boston. Maximum sustained winds now 50 miles per hour. Moving off to the northeast, it's picked up some speed up to 29 miles per hour. Was moving at 26 miles per hour earlier, and it's going to continue, we think, to increase in speed, race on off to the northeast, away from the U.S., and that's good news. We've been dealing with it for days and days, finally moving on out of the picture, although we still do have a bit of wet weather occurring in parts of the northeast, in particular Maine. You can see the cloud cover here, the oranges showing you where the heavier activity is. Things really quieting down here for southern New England, for New York, New Jersey, but still soggy conditions here through Maine. Let's see what's going on our radar picture. Again, no rain showing up for Albany, for Syracuse, for New York or Boston. Things quiet for Hartford and Providence too. Had some soggy conditions earlier, but now as the system races on off, the rain is moving on with it. But still around Portland and Bangor, getting some wet weather, maybe some windy conditions too, but really much of the state of Maine covered in wet weather right now. Some of the rain could still be quite heavy in this region, and for that reason, flood watches remain in effect here for parts of Maine. The areas in darker green here, still the potential for some flooding problems. Be extra careful. I-95, I-91, things could be a bit rough. Make sure you don't drive your cars through any areas where water covers the roadways. Well, other areas picking up some heavy amounts of rain include Kingston, New York. Almost 6.5 inches here. 4 3/4 inches for Providence, Rhode Island, and in Bridgeport, Connecticut, 4 inches of rain as Bertha soaks New England. Albany, New York, just under 3.5 inches, and in Boston, although things have quieted down now, 3 inches of rain fell, all associated with Tropical Storm Bertha. A quick check back at the history of Bertha shows its development, as Brad mentioned earlier, July 4th. Tropical Depression 2 formed here. It then quickly became a tropical storm, traveling